Welcome to the Moon Manifesting Podcast with Kyra Howearth. Hi, I'm Kyra, business astrologer, moon manifesting mama, author, teacher, and mentor. I teach you how to harness the energy of the moon, stars, and cosmos so you can manifest your dreams and discover a deeper purpose to your life. Hey there, and welcome to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. My name's Kyra, and today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind a lot lately, and that is being multi-passionate. When you have so many different things that you want to do, and you end up doing all the different things, and it's hard for you to focus on just one thing. And maybe you're a Gemini, or maybe you have some heavy Gemini placements on your chart that might make you feel this way. And I know it's like we're just coming out of Gemini season now, so this is often something that can come up during this time of the year when we have this pull towards many different things in our lives, and it's hard to focus on just one thing. So no matter where you're at, maybe something in this episode will resonate with you, and hopefully I can share a bit about why it's okay to be multi-passionate, and also maybe how to kind of approach being multi-passionate in a way that can work better for you so you're not stretching yourself too thin. All right, so what I'm going to be talking about today is, finding, I want to talk a bit about finding your zone of genius, as well about helping you feel that it's okay to be multi-passionate. And I'm also going to be sharing a bit about what I've been up to, sharing a bit about what's been going on for me personally, my journey with being a multi-passionate entrepreneur and soulpreneur. I'll be revealing a bit about what's been going on behind the scenes for me as well. So where will I start? Let's start off with being okay with being multi-passionate. So I was recently having a conversation with someone, and I was expressing about how I feel like I've been really spreading myself quite thin lately. I've been doing all the things. I've actually had this conversation with a lot of people about like how I'm teaching yoga. I've just launched a new deck, the Moon Manifesting Affirmation deck. So I'm launching that. I've also started up like a new side hustle, designing websites. And that's on top of like everything else that I do. Like I'm doing tarot and astrology readings as well. Like I'm constantly like marketing my tarot deck and my book. And at the same time, like I'm trying to work on the Moon Manifesting Planner for next year. So I've got all these different things going on. And so I was having this conversation about how I feel like I'm just trying to do all the things. And I really just kind of want to come back to one thing. And find like the common ground between all these things, bring it together in like a nice, tidy, neat package, rather than trying to do all the things and be all the things. And maybe you've been feeling the same way, especially as it has been Gemini season, when we are often quite busy and we often do have like this calling to do lots of different things, maybe trying new things or learning new things. So maybe you've been feeling the same way. And so in one of these conversations I was having, I was like, I'm just trying to embrace my Gemini-ness. I'm just trying to embrace how much of a Gemini I am. So I am a Gemini sun. I also have a few other Gemini placements. So I do feel like I have quite a heavy Gemini energy for my chart and for who I am. And for the longest time, I've always tried to kind of suppress that side of myself. For the longest time, I was always like, I've just got to pick one thing and focus on that one thing and just do that one thing and go really deep into that one thing. And I kind of would stick with one thing for a while until I got bored, and then I'd do something else, right? And I kind of always felt like, okay, I'm sabotaging myself because I'm building up this one thing. I'm like building myself up. Like a really good example of this was just a few years ago. I was practicing as a herbalist. I was really focusing on fertility and women's health. And so I was really like building up a name for myself. I was like networking with other health practitioners in the area, saying like, hey, this is what I do. Like I was connecting with like gynecologists and other women's health practitioners, and building up a clientele of women who were trying to fall pregnant. And yeah, after a while, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm kind of bored with this. I don't want to do this anymore. So I'd done all this work, and I ended up just kind of leaving that industry completely and just started focusing on this spiritual stuff that I do now. And so I've found that I often do this. And so, yeah, something that's been coming up for me lately was like, why put myself in a box when I can do all the things, when I can be all the things, right? Classic Gemini. And so I've been really experimenting with that this year. And you may have noticed, if you follow me on social media, you may have seen me like do lots of different things and not just trap myself into a box. And it's been really fun. It's been really liberating to embrace all those different parts of myself, do all those different things, explore all those different areas. And I've had some beautiful opportunities come up because of it. Like as I've been embracing more of the yoga side of things, I've had wonderful opportunities to teach yoga on retreats and teach locally at a beautiful studio. And yeah, like embracing different parts of myself as well. Like my arty creative side, I've been embracing that through making my tarot deck and my oracle deck. And yeah, so many different things. But then, yeah, recently I had this realization, just like how much I'm stretching myself so thin, and how, like, for example, with yoga, I know I could be doing this so much better if I went all in and just focused on yoga. I could really, you know, propel that side of my business forward. But I don't have the time and energy to focus on just one thing because I'm focusing on all the things. And so, as you can imagine, it's kind of like, you know, I've just got little bits of energy going out to all these things. Whereas I can see the benefit if I put all of my energy and focus on one thing, how much better results I could get. So hopefully you're resonating with something here. Maybe you're seeing how you're stretching your energy quite thin in different areas of your life. And maybe if you cut some of those things out and focus more neatly on one thing, how much more results you could get, right? So whether this is in business, maybe this could be to do with your family or your health or something else, maybe you can see where you're splitting your energy into different areas. And if you maybe just took a step back and focused on one thing, maybe things would be a bit different, right? So first up, I do want to say, like, it's totally okay to have lots of different passions, to do lots of different things. It is totally okay. And I encourage you to run with that and explore that and do all the different things. And that's what I've been doing. But then as I've come to this realization that, like, okay, something's got to change. I need to go back to how I used to do things. There's a reason why I never used to spread myself so thin, because you get better results when you focus on one thing. So something that's helped me kind of realize that I need to come back and put my energy into one thing. I've been reading a book by Rachel Rodgers called We Should All Be Millionaires. And in this book, it is absolutely gold, by the way. I recommend everyone read this book, We Should All Be Millionaires. But she talks about, and I think this is a concept that she gets from a book called The Big Leap. She talks about these 4 different zones. And so we have our zone of incompetence, and that is things that we're bad at, and it's quite obvious to other people that we're quite bad at this thing. And so it just could be things that just don't come naturally to you. So yeah, maybe there's things that you can think of that you're bad at. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that I'm bad at, but there's heaps of things, right? Like building work, like renovation work. Like that's my husband. Like he will do all that sort of thing, and I know that's really not what I'm competent at. And I've seen that like through doing house renos ourselves, and helping out with the house renovations. Like I'm learning, but it's definitely not my zone of competence. It's probably more my zone of incompetence, right? So the things that you're not good at, right? And then you have your zone of competence. So this is things that you can do, but it's also probably things that like everyone can do, like, maybe with a bit of training, but it's like common stuff that you don't really need to have any special skills at doing. So this could be stuff like, working the checkouts at a shop, or like flipping burgers at McDonald's. Pretty much anyone could do that sort of stuff, right? So then the next zone is the zone of excellence. And this is kind of where, like, maybe you've done a lot of training to do, or a lot of study, you've devoted like a lot of years or energy into learning this thing, and it's actually something that you're quite good at. But the thing is with your zone of excellence is that it may not light you up inside. It may not bring you that joy inside. And so, like, the thing is, a lot of people get stuck in their zone of excellence because they're devoted so much of their life to becoming better at this particular thing. So a really good example here is like a doctor, right? Like they would go to university and medical school and then do like an internship and all that sort of thing. It takes a lot of energy and dedication to become a doctor, but it may not light you up. And so you may feel stuck in that profession because you've devoted so much of your life to it, right? But at the end of the day, like, you don't feel fulfilled from that work. So the fourth zone is your zone of genius, and that's really where the gold is. And often your zone of genius is something that's just so easy that you often will overlook it and dismiss it. So your zone of genius is the things that just come naturally to you. It could be things that, like, you've been doing since you were a child, things that you may have won awards for when you're at school or as you were growing up. And it's just the things that come easily and naturally to you. And it lights you up, right? And if it's not lighting you up, then, why are you still doing it? It's got to light you up. It's got to light up your soul. So yeah, we have these 4 zones. And so the idea with these 4 different zones is that we want to tap into that zone of genius. And so particularly like in We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers, she's talking about tapping into your zone of genius to, tap into your millionaire, right? Like that's the path to become a millionaire. When you tap into what's easy, and it's naturally going to, bring in the abundance, bring in the money for you. So in terms of being multi-passionate and doing all the things, being all the things, when I was reading this, I was like, wow, what's my zone of genius? This is what I should be doing. I should be tapping into that zone of genius. And so I'm still trying to figure out like exactly what my zone of genius is. I don't have the answers yet. I'm still like contemplating that. But it's definitely helped me understand like the things that we do easily, the things that we've just been doing naturally since we were maybe a kid. Maybe we should be going back to that. And instead of like dismissing it and thinking like, I'm never going to make money from doing that, or, that's not my career path because I didn't go to university and study that. Like maybe dismissing those thoughts and seeing what it would look like if you did allow yourself to step into your zone of genius and do the work within your zone of genius. And if it's not within your zone of genius, it's stuff that you could outsource. It's things that you could hire other people to do. Like you don't have to be stuck doing all the things. So Rachel Rodgers talks a lot about how like execution wasn't actually one of her strengths. So her strengths were like getting up on stage and speaking, but actually like executing stuff, like getting stuff done. She was saying like, she'd often be making contracts up, typing up contracts and things for clients like at midnight the day before it was due, because that was just not her strength. And so once she realized where her zone of genius was, she realized, that's great. I can just focus on, speaking in front of crowds, speaking up on stage, that sort of thing, and everything else she outsources. And when I read that, I was like, wow, that's so powerful. And so I really just wanted to share that message in this episode, because for me, being multi-passionate, I was like, wow, like I want to do all these things. I want to do all these things. But then reading Rachel Rodgers' book, it was like, okay, I can just focus on that one sort of zone of genius of the things that I'm good at that, maybe not everyone else can do. It combines my unique skills, and it's just something that comes easily and naturally to me. So have a think about what your zone of genius might be. You may have already had a thought as you've been listening to me talk. You may have thought about, the things that you won awards for, the things that you've just been doing since you were a child, all those sorts of things. So when I read through this book, We Should All Be Millionaires, and I came to this section, it was around the time that I started a little side hustle business. So I've started actually designing websites. And I know, right? Total Gemini here, like doing all the things, right? But as I was thinking about websites in the terms of like my zone of genius and that sort of thing, I don't know if websites are right there in my zone of genius, but it definitely ticks some of those boxes. It's definitely something that I've been doing since I was a kid that just comes to me naturally and easily. One of the reasons why I did actually start up my business website Witchery is because I was doing some websites for some friends and family, and they were like, wow, you like did that so fast. You did that so easily. It would have taken me ages. I just wouldn't have even known what to do. And I realized that, it is actually easy for me to make a website. So that's why I'm leaning into websites at the moment. So, and part of websites is also like, for me, blending in my existing skills, I'm blending in astrology with website creation. So when I'm making a website, I'm often also making the branding for the client. And so I'm doing a lot of astrological branding. So that could be like looking at their rising sign or sun sign and weaving some branding elements that are associated with that zodiac sign into the website so that it's, it matches the vibe of that person or their business, so that they're expressing themselves more authentically. And there's so many benefits to do with that as well. But I don't, I don't really want to talk all about websites. I want to talk more about being multi-passionate. But if you do want to know more about what I'm up to with websites, make sure you come follow me on Instagram at website witchery, or you can find my brand new website, websitewitchery.com. Because I'm really excited about this side hustle. And as I said, as I've been talking about, like being multi-passionate, I've been thinking like, what would it look like if I went all in with websites? Am I getting bored with moon manifesting? Am I getting bored with what I've been doing? And to be honest, kind of yes. Is it just my Gemini self-sabotaging or the work I've been doing in this realm? Maybe. But anyway, I'm just doing what I feel called to do at the moment, and I'm trusting that it's okay, that I can embrace my Gemini-ness and do all these different things. So that's kind of what I'm up to at the moment, which is, kind of the other thing I want to talk about in this episode is, like embracing all those different parts of myself and realizing that it's okay to try new things. I, on a whim, I just started up this new business, Website Witchery, and I was like, okay, we'll see how it goes. And to be honest, it's just exploded. It's just been incredible. Like the response I've had since I've launched this new side hustle has been phenomenal. Like thinking back to all the times when I've like launched other things, other businesses, I've never received like the support and encouragement that I have since I've launched this new side hustle. So for me, like something's kind of like switching in my head, like it's okay to explore these things, and you just never know, like when you see a need for something and you can feel that need, just how much people will appreciate that. And so I saw a need, like literally how it started was I was talking to a friend and they were like, oh, I need some help with my website. And I was like, I can do that. And so that's just how it started. So maybe as you're listening to this and you're thinking about your own multi-passions, maybe you have already got an inkling for where there is a need, where you've seen like other people need a service or something that you can offer and you can fill that need. Maybe that's your zone of genius. Maybe that is something that you should be leaning more into. So I guess, yeah, there's two sort of takeaways that I want to express from this episode is that one, it's okay to be multi-passionate. Like I feel like if if you're feeling called to spread your energy in lots of different directions, go for it. See what that's like. Sometimes you need to experience that. And I feel like, probably for the last year for me, like that's where I've been up to. I've had this calling to do all these different things, because if I didn't do all these different things and spread my energy thin, then I wouldn't know what that felt like. And I'd always kind of be like, well, what would happen if I did this and this and this and this? But ultimately, I feel like it's so much more efficient to bring back your energy into one straight direction, into like one main focus. And if you can bring together all those different parts of yourself and bring it together in one direction, then that will give you the most results. Okay? Because when you're spreading your energy too thin, there are going to be gaps missing. And if you could fill those gaps, you could bring that energy into one direction. I hope that's making sense. I hope that's making it really clear for you. No matter where you are on your path, whether you're doing all the things or you're trying to do one thing and you're not sure how to do the one thing, just bring your energy back into the one thing. So before I leave you today, there's one more thing that I do want to share with you. And again, this comes from Rachel Rodgers' book, We Should All Be Millionaires. Guys, just go read the book because it will go so much more in depth into a lot of the things I'm talking about today. But one more thing that Rachel Rodgers does mention, and she says, what if I'm multi-passionate? So she's talking about like the zone of genius, right? Your zone of genius, and like focusing on that one thing. But what if you're multi-passionate, and what if you want to do all the things? And she says it's totally okay to be multi-passionate, do all those things, but do them on your own time. And that really resonated deeply with me. It was like, okay, I can focus on my zone of genius and monetize that. That can be my main income source. And everything else I do, I can do in my own time. So for yoga, I can still do yoga, but I can do that in my own time. Does that mean I'm necessarily going to stop teaching yoga? Not at the moment, because I love it. But I feel like maybe yoga isn't my career path. So I feel like yoga, for example, going back to yoga, like I feel like this, I'm supposed to be doing yoga at this time in my life. I feel strongly called to doing yoga, but do I see myself just being a yogi, like just being a yoga teacher and going really deep into that? No, I really don't. So for me, I'm feeling like yoga, for example, that's just something I can do in my own time. Tarot reading. As much as I love doing readings for other people, I kind of feel like, maybe that's not what I'm actually here to do, or just not solely doing tarot readings for other people. So I can do that in my own time. And whether that's doing readings for other people or just doing readings for myself or however it comes about, I don't necessarily need to monetize that. So yeah, expect to see a few shifts in what I'm offering over the coming months as I process more of this journey. This episode is really just raw and authentic, by the way. Like, it's very unscripted, but I just wanted to come on here and speak about what's going on because I felt like it would really help some of you out there who are maybe also very Gemini and or just very multi-passionate. So yeah. That's a bit about what I'm up to. Yeah, so final thoughts is like, yeah, you can be multi-passionate, but just monetize your zone of genius. Make that like the thing that brings in the money. And if you want to do all the other things, that's fine, but you don't necessarily have to monetize it. And you don't necessarily have to even do it as a part of your business. It could just be stuff that you do in your free time. And imagine what it'd be like if you had free time. Because that's probably the other thing that comes up for me being multi-passionate is that I feel like I have no time because I'm teaching multiple yoga classes per week. I'm trying to show up on social media on many different accounts. I'm starting up my own side hustle. I've got a deck launch. I've got all these different things going on. And I kind of felt like, oh my God, I'm so time poor now. Not to mention I'm homeschooling my kids. and like we have lots of different obligations throughout the week for our family and our kids as well. So yeah, really just trying to come back to, okay, what's my zone of genius, honing in on that, and all the other things I can schedule into my life, but that's part of my free time. I can, do yoga and tarot reading and whatever else for fun. It doesn't have to be work, so to speak. So hopefully that really helps you. Maybe, maybe that can help you find some sense in being multi-passionate and what that could actually look like for you in terms of like your business and the rest of your life. So yeah, I hope that helps. Stay tuned for more updates for where I'm going on this multi-passionate journey of myself. But this episode was brought to you by website Witchery, my new business. So do go check that out. If you are looking for a business, a website for your business, or maybe just your personal brand, and you're looking for someone spiritual who maybe gets what it is that you're offering, definitely come check me out at website Witchery. I would love to help you out with a business where I would love to help you out with a website for your business where you can easily express yourself authentically and draw in clients who are aligned with you and your branding. So that's at websitewitchery.com, and you'll find the links for everything that I've mentioned today in the show notes below as well. So I hope my Gemini ramblings were really helpful for you and really insightful for not only how you can navigate your multi-passionateness, but also, just a bit of insight about where I'm up to, what I'm doing, and all that sort of fun thing. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Hit me up on Instagram, send me a message if this episode really resonated with you. I always love seeing or hearing your insights about what came up for you through these episodes. It's always so fun to see what you got out of my podcast episodes. Anyways, stay magical, stay manifesting, and stay tuned. I will speak with you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. If you're wanting more moon magic, check out my book, Moon Manifesting. Download your free Moon Manifesting calendar or connect with me on social media. You can do all of that at kyrahowearth.com.au. Stay magical, stay manifesting, and stay tuned. I'll speak with you in the next episode.